This reading is from January the 23rd, 2010. It was referenced in the daily quote for October the 25th, 2021. Question from the group. The question this evening has to do with the fact that when we get together in groups like this, where we share with an open heart, we are aware that a lot of light, energy, and potential is generated. We are wondering how we can use that light, that potential, and that energy when we leave the group and go out into our daily lives, and just how that light and energy affects the dawning of the new age, the dawning of the fourth density, the density of love and understanding. Carla channeling? We are those known to you as the principle of Quo. We greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, in whose service we come to you this evening. It is a great privilege to be called to your circle of seeking, and we are delighted to share our humble opinions with you on the subject of how to carry with you that self of which you have become aware within the strengthening energy of this circle. However, before we begin, we would greatly appreciate it if each of you who hears or reads these words would take it upon yourself to use your discrimination and your discernment, to take those thoughts which resonate to you and leave the rest behind. We would not wish to be a stumbling block before you, and our comments cannot meet all of you all of the time where you are this day. We very much wish to leave you undisturbed in your patterns of seeking. Consequently, if you will use your discrimination and listen for resonance that will allow us to speak much more freely, we thank you for this consideration. We would mention that we wish to thank you for the courage that it takes to set aside time from your busy schedules to seek the truth. The energy of that setting of the intention to seek the truth is profound to us, and we realize, as the one known as El said, you are not only out of the box, you are springing forth and blooming, completely free of boxes here. It is a great pleasure to be a part of the circle. It is indeed true, my friends, that when those of like mind gather together, all of those within the group are aided in their seeking, for each is now supported by the others in the group. It is as if you hooked all of yourselves up to a great big battery, each of you being a battery for each other, each of you supporting and encouraging and validating each other. The nature of this phenomenon is, shall we say, electrical, for want of a better word. For each of you is powered by not only a physical body, which is chemical in its nature, but also a metaphysical or energy body, which is electrical in its basic workings. As you rest in this circle of seeking during this session of working, each of your auras is necessarily blending with the auras on either side of you. And as you allow the energy to rotate around the circle clockwise, these blended energies begin immediately to build a sacred space together. Indeed, as soon as you started talking together when you came in the door. Indeed, you have already built an enormous dome of light over this dwelling place that reaches into the heavens, and we find it most beautiful to see. We turn our attention now to a discussion of the nature of this time and this moment, for relatively speaking, the next few years are as a moment in the general run of eternity and infinity. This moment is where, as this instrument said earlier, the third density light is waning, soon to be setting, so that there may come the dawning of new light, a new morning, a new density, the density which we often call the density of love and understanding. In the waning of this third density light, there are more and more interpenetrations from fourth density light. The reason a density is called that is that each density contains light that is denser with information. Consequently, fourth density light carries an enormous amount of truth, which is why each of you is experiencing the opportunity now to gather up all of that shadow side of yourself that you may have neglected because it was not, on the surface of it, attractive. and did not seem to carry the energy of love and light. Yet, my friends, you are all things. If you are all one, then you contain all that there is in that unity. And while that unity's nature is that of the Logos or unconditional love, yet it also contains all the distortions of that love. And many, my friends, are the distortions of love brought about by fear. Consequently, this is the very time for you to cultivate the quality of fearlessness and to leap into faith. In the face of many seeming difficulties and disasters in your earth world at this time, it is easy to have fear. In the wake of so many theories about ascension and the great rapture, it is easy to have a fear that you shall not continue, or that you shall continue but be plucked from this place to a place of fire and brimstone. It is time to let those fears go, once and for all. As the poet said, "Death, where is thy sting? Grave, where is thy victory?" We ask you not to be concerned about such things as the physical life or the physical death. For unconditional and absolute love is with you in this world and in larger life as well. So if love is within you, what does it matter whether you experience it as a physical being or as a spiritual being? For when that transition occurs, you know. And let it be beyond a shadow of a doubt that you shall continue as citizens of eternity. Your environment will change as you move through that process that takes you into graduation from this density to the next. But know you well that you shall not be judged except by your own preferences. For you shall walk into the sunlight, and it shall become fuller by exquisitely, carefully nuanced grades of density. And as you walk into the fuller light, it shall cease being third density and begin being fourth density. And yet you still may walk on. You may walk on until the light becomes too full and is uncomfortable for you. Then that is where you shall stop. And that is where you shall stay. And if you are still in third density light when you stop, then your energy body shall be transitioned to another third density planet where you may again take up the lessons of polarity and that choice of how to serve. Shall you serve others, or shall you serve yourself? And if you have walked into fourth density before you stopped, then you have graduated. You have passed the third grade in this school of souls, as it were, and you shall find opening before you a great many more choices of how to live and be and serve and learn because of the fullness of fourth density light. Some there are, my friends, who have indeed come from elsewhere and who have nurtured within their hearts the memory of that energy. And as you graduate, perhaps you shall simply keep walking the steps of light until you are back in your own native density. As this has an impact upon you now, it is the impact of releasing all fear and of knowing that you are a magical and powerful being. You are part of the Godhead principle, and as you create your inner universe, so it is for you. Thusly, if you have compassion and forgive yourself and others in your universe, you are forgiven, and they are forgiven. You have that capacity and that entitlement. You may create for yourself fourth density right now, right here, by setting your intention to live by fourth density values. My friends, the one known as Jesus offered simple and strong advice. He spoke, saying that there were only 2 commandments that he felt should be carried into what he considered a new age. The first value was to love the Creator wholeheartedly, without stop or hindrance and with great kindling fire. The second was to love all of those about you as though they were you, to treat all of those about you as though they were you. When the one known as Peter said, "Well, what shall we do when you're gone?" the one known as Jesus the Christ said, "Feed my sheep." As you move from this very strongly supported circle of seeking into your own bailiwicks, into your own niches in life, we ask you to carry with you that intention to love the Creator and to love all those whom you meet as though they were yourself, or as the one known as Jesus said it, as though they were those who were dependent upon you to feed them. We are not suggesting that you become silly or foolish. We are not suggesting that you cloud your eyes and refrain from seeing that which you see. What we are suggesting is that when you see with eyes of love, then you are seeing whomever you look at as a soul. You are not looking at their behavior when you look with eyes of love. You are looking at their essential being and creation of the Father. All whom you see are sparks of the Creator. To see with eyes of love is to be blessed with an awareness that informs you beyond the capacities of the intellect to inform you. And this is helpful, for it grounds that which you see as a personality seeing other personalities. We do not suggest that you stop seeing with all of the ability that you have to link with people, to connect with people, and to draw boundaries where needed when dealing with people that would move you from your center. We are saying that in addition to those normal and everyday movements of personality, intellect, and emotion, you carry with you the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. For you do carry within you that love, that light, that Christ, if you will. Indeed, within your heart, that energy blazes and awaits your reaching. It is not that you must call the Creator to you, for the Creator is nearer to you than your breath, closer to you than your very bones. That love waits for you, just as the one known as Jesus awaited the priests who followed the star. You have within you a manger, and in that manger lies love itself. That love is the love of you and your neighbor and all that is within the one infinite creation. So you are in a position to come into a stable of your own heart and take up that infant self that is your maturing soul. You have the capacity to cradle, nourish, and nurture that child within. You carry within you not only fourth density, but all densities, all emotions, all circumstances, all that is in manifestation, all that can be imagined, and those mysteries and paradoxes that lie beyond imagination. All this is within you. And therefore you are the one infinite Creator and the one creation. We are not saying that you have grown into your puppy feet yet. You are very young gods. And there is much to burn away in the furnace of everyday life as you go about collecting to yourself those gems of being that are the very realest part of you. Thusly, when you spring forth from this group meeting, from this blooming, from this precious moment, you carry within you the light that has been empowered by the safety of this group, and you may allow that light to shine. Again, we do not speak of physical things, but of those things which are metaphysical or spiritual. You do not create the light. You carry a space through which the infinite love and light of the one Creator may flow. You convect that light at all times through your energy body that touches all the various energies of your little life with an incarnation, as it moves through what this instrument would call the chakras, or energy centers. There is daily work to do, just as there is daily housework to do if one wishes one's house to be quite clean, so that the infinite love and light of the Creator may flow into your heart in full power. The heart is the very center of the chakra body, or the energy body. You help yourself to carry the light every time you discover that you have shut down one of your energy centers because something bothered you. When you go after that moment in your contemplations, and you gaze upon that sudden closure or narrowing of your energy body because of pain, it's very helpful to get to know yourself better and better as you find out where your triggers are. What is taking you away from an open energy body? What is squeezing that precious light as it flows into your heart? If you can keep that energy flowing into your open heart, then you are in a position to work with the energies of communication, compassion, and radiancy of being that leads you into a connection with the inspiration and information that comes to you through the gateway of intelligent infinity, pulling down from higher densities that which you need so that you are able to pursue your path with the utmost light possible. It is easy to feel open and radiant in a supported group such as this one. It is less easy to maintain that free feeling of blooming when you do not have the group with you physically. Yet, my friends, you have many unseen companions, such as angels, your guidance system, and what this instrument would call the Holy Spirit. These are powerful allies to help you hold open that space through which the love of the Creator can flow. If you can imagine your energy body ending at the tip of your head, you may imagine a flame of spirit that is constantly there when your energy body is open. Metaphysically speaking, it is a very real light. And you are a light unto whom all you meet. Imagine in the days to come, the tsunamis, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, all of those things that surround the end of an age in which the heat of aggression and war has been stored in the earth and must be allowed to be released. The opportunities that you will have to witness the light. You may see for yourself as you gaze at the events occurring in your earth world at this time that the great majority of entities of the tribe of humankind are just a heartbeat away from giving and loving and caring and living in the fourth density, where you may feed those about you, and where you may expect those about you to feed you. Certainly, what this instrument would call the loyal opposition is delighted to fly above the radar with war and rumors of war. We simply ask you not to be dismayed, but to move down into the roots of your being, down into who you are and why you are here at this time. It is a precious opportunity which you have to serve the light and to ask, what is your will for me today? For I give this day to you. This is your day. I am your servant. Here am I. Send me. Send me. And you may say to yourself, am I worthy to carry this love? To witness to this light? And we say to you that the Creator has no one but those who are error-prone. You are entirely worthy, just as you are. Indeed, we find each of you beautiful. For if you let the light come through you with no personality distortions, it would be white light. Yet how beautiful it is that you shade the light according to the colors of your personality, so that you are like stained glass windows, giving the white light its color, its beauty, its particularity. To support the attempt and the intention to live according to fourth density values of love and compassion, it is very helpful, my friends, that each of you find ways to enter into the silence for those moments of communion with the Infinite One, which move deeper than words can. How you wish to enter into the silence and to practice the presence of the One Creator is entirely your choice. There is an amazing array of ways to practice the presence of the One, from the heat of exercise to the contemplation of walking in nature, to the many ways of sitting in meditation, to the practice of words and inspiration as you read and think about what you have read. Whatever combination of those things appeals to you, we simply encourage you to make it a daily practice. Above all things, my friends, we would suggest both that you take yourself ultimately seriously and that you take yourself lightly. It is easy to burn out on the spiritual path. Lift up from heaviness and self-judgment into compassion for the self, so that you fall in love with yourself just as you are. It is so much easier to love all those about you when you have done that. practiced forgiveness upon yourself for each and every perceived imperfection. The hardest audience that you will ever have is yourself, the most severe critic, the sternest judge. Let those energies fall away from you, as they will, and forgive all. As you do so, you have begun a whole new life. And you may do that each and every day. You shall never run out of beginnings. You have infinity to rehearse. We would at this time ask if there is a follow-up to this query before we open the questioning to other questions. We are those of Quo. We are those of Quo. And as it appears there is no follow-up to that query, may we ask if there are other queries within the group at this time? A. Quo, I have a question. The concept of fourth density technologies that are coming in now came to my mind. I'm wondering if you can comment on whether that is a useful concept, and if so, if you could discuss it from a spiritual perspective without infringing on my or anyone else's free will. We are those of Quo, and we thank you for your query, my brother. The information which we may offer that is harmless is simply that there is indeed a certain amount of what this instrument would call retro-engineering of advanced technology, as you would call it, and that this source of these bits of technology is of a polarity which is negative. That is to say, there is that energy within your peoples which is called service to self. Just as we, in careful awareness of the need for the maintenance of complete free will, come to you in thoughts by means of channels such as this one, so there are entities which come to those who are seeking to graduate in service to self. And it is those energies which are compatible with such things as physical landings and so forth of entities from elsewhere. We are not saying that the technology itself has a negative vibration, but only that it would not be appropriate for a service to others group from elsewhere to infringe upon the free will of those upon your planet by attempting to introduce technology which might be to the advantage of those to whom it was given. We thank you for this question, my brother, and this concludes the material that we may see as being harmless. May we ask if there is another query in the group at this time? We are those of Quo. L. I had a query, Quo. Would it be possible for you to discuss any spiritual principles involved in sadism and masochism? The seeking out of inflicting or desiring pain to where it can be considered an arousing or mind-altering experience? Would this indicate some kind of blockage of the lower chakras that would cause that kind of thing to be sought out by an entity? We are those of Quo, and believe we understand your query, my sister. There can be, in the course of a lifetime, the gathering of experiences which are very painful and which are suppressed because, as a young entity in incarnation, there has been no way to contain or understand these experiences. There are many different kinds of ways that a young soul can be abused, and often these memories are deeply buried in order that the infant or the toddler or the child that has experienced these painful things might survive with an intact psychology, as this instrument would say. These buried pockets of pain sometimes may call to the conscious mind of the adult, who has no memory or only the vaguest memory of these early experiences, and suggest that somehow the expression of pain is appropriate. In psychological terms, my sister, it would be called a mental aberration or an illness. Certainly there is illness or toxicity involved in all that is of the shadow side. The path to light is straight through that pain, so that you may imagine yourself cradling that part of yourself that is involved with the darkness, and allowing the mother aspect of the Creator to swaddle and rock this pain that is within. And through the dark night, continue rocking, continue loving, continue being there for that part of yourself that is in darkness. May we answer you further, my sister. We are those of Quo. L. No, thank you, Quo. We thank you, my sister, And may we say to all of those in this group that at any time that you wish us to be with you in your meditation, to strengthen the basic vibration of meditation, we are most happy to be there. You need only ask for us. This is also true, my friends, of the angels. Each of you has many angels around you. Angels who love you because of who you are, and because of your great ideals and your great hopes. They come to let you know that you are loved and that you are safe. And we ask if there is another query at this time. We are those of Quo. A. I have another query, Quo. I wonder if you could discuss the discipline of mathematics from a spiritual perspective, the spiritual principles of math, without infringing on the free will of anybody. Thank you. We are those of Quo, and we thank you for that query. It is an interesting one in that, from our perspective, there is no difference between the science of numbers and the science of music. It has often been said by those who are deeply involved in numbers among your people that numbers are entities, and we would agree with this, and yet we would take it further. Numbers are spiritual essences. The ratios and relationships betwixt numbers is the basis of the Hermetic philosophies, so-called, the work of Hermes Trismegistus, and all of the science of alchemy, which attempts to take that basic metal, which is the unrealized self, and to transmute it into the gold of the realized spiritual self. Numbers have powerful and deep connections to various vibratory levels or states of being. If you feel that you may have a lucky number, for instance, it very likely is so that your particular vibration is comfortable with the powers of that particular number. If you wish to investigate the spiritual or the sacred nature of numbers, there are various ways to do that. You may investigate them according to the discipline of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, with its gematria, is a discipline hundreds and hundreds of years old, and its pathways are very interesting to travel for one who is interested in numbers. The reason that we compare numbers to music is that the vibratory nature of each note has a specific numerical value, so that when you are gazing at how harmony works, or how a 12-tone scale may work, for instance, or how the various modes may differ from the major and the minor scales, you are looking at spiritual pathways that are compatible with various states of being. The science of sacred geometry may also be a discipline that shall satisfy your resonance with this subject, my brother. And we would recommend that you look into that as well. May we answer you further, my brother? We are those of Quo. A. No, Quo, thank you. We thank you, my brother. May we ask if there is a final query in this group? A. I have one, Quo. I'm curious about the distinction between psychic attack and everyday run-of-the-mill catalyst, just the daily stuff, because life is life. I'm wondering if you could discuss that from a spiritual perspective, how to distinguish between the two without impinging on anyone's free will. Thanks. We thank you, my brother. There really is no clear boundary between the slings and arrows of outrageous everyday fortune, as this one would wrongly quote the one known as William, and psychic greeting. However, there are slings and arrows that seem outrageous beyond the everyday. And in those cases, it is likely that the seeker will say he is having a psychic greeting or psychic attack. Usually, for the most part, psychic greetings are a mechanism from within the self, where light has not been developed in a certain way or in a certain area. And therefore, that which strikes one as catalyst strikes one much more keenly and much more painfully than the everyday experience and difficulty. Consequently, before one begins to think, oh, I'm being attacked by some evil entity from the outside, it is far more fruitful, generally speaking, to gaze within to see what has caused this seeming feeling of being attacked or greeted, to look into that moment of resistance or difficulty or frustration, and to gather intelligence concerning that happening. It is very instructive for any spiritual seeker to go right back into the heart of that which has troubled him, looking for patterns. For each has come into incarnation with some things to do and some things to learn. And for each, there is at least one incarnational lesson that repeats, like the theme that plays over and over again, like the tune you hear, and you know Peter is coming, or the wolf is coming, or the duck in Peter and the Wolf. That marvelous piece which has a little tune for each entity. You also have themes to your incarnation, leitmotifs that occur again and again. It is not that they occur precisely the same way each time, for you are different each time that you meet this incarnational lesson. It meets you at a different place. Yet there are elements of it that you recognize after you've contemplated this for a while. It helps greatly to have a handle on what your incarnational lessons are, because it removes all fear when you come into that awareness. Oh, I'm being hit by this again. Then you can think, oh, okay, I know that. That's my theme. That's my lesson. Let's see how I shall do with it this time. Then you begin to ask yourself those questions that we so often encouraged you to ask. Where is the love in this moment? Where is the Creator in this moment? How may I serve to my highest and best in this moment? How may I expand faith and let go of fear? How may I love? Occasionally there is an outside entity that wishes to distract you from the path that you have chosen to follow. For a being of light, a light worker, that is distracted from the light work and coaxed into sitting by the side of the road in heavy gloom, has successfully been taken away from that worker's reason for being here. So when you feel distracted, when you feel discouraged, allow those feelings to wash through you, as you allow the love and the light of the Infinite One to fill you. That which happens to you, be it the normal difficulties of every day, or that which might be called psychic reading, all responds to the same thing, your loving attention. So let your light shine forth. And when it is challenged, take the time to honor and respect that which the challenge is, and then let it be, and let it go, so that you may be about the business that you came to be about. May we answer you further, my brother. We are those of Quo. A. No, thank you, Quo. I'm satisfied. We are known to you as the principle of Quo. Many thanks to each of you. It has been our privilege and pleasure to be a part of this meditation. We leave this instrument and this group in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Adonai, Adonai Vasu Bregus.